Welcome to What's New. Tonight we have the Art Guild represented, and the French Heritage Festival that's coming up this weekend.
Yes.
And also the Spring for Downs, but Chip's not here yet. So we'll let Peggy, you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Peggy Bay, and I'm a member of the St. Genevieve Art Guild. I'm the secretary, and I coordinate the education program.
And we asked Peggy to be here tonight because the Art Guild does a special summer program for kids. It's about half over, I guess.
Yes.
It's dynamite. We will admit, Iris and I are both members of the Art Guild. We have to say that, I suppose, officially. And Iris has been very involved in activities for kids over the years. This program is not brand new.
No, we started it when we were able to get the art center, when we were able to lease the building. Actually, while we were renovating, we started teaching classes. So we taught for a private school the first year. And but then we also started offering workshops for kids and adults on the side. So it's been about 5 years now.
For anyone who has not been to the Art Guild space, it is well worth a visit to what was the old library building and the old museum building for many, many years. It's a very nice building, belongs to the county. Mm-hmm. And the Art Guild now has a very nice gallery and a wonderful workspace for doing the kinds of things you do, Peggy.
Right.
Can you talk a little bit about the kinds of projects kids can do?
Well, as part of our mission, we wanted to have educational outreach for both adults and kids. So we offer classes. We focus mostly in the summertime because it seems like that's when most kids have availability. And we try to offer things that they wouldn't necessarily get to do in the regular classroom. So it varies from one year to the next. Sometimes we try to tie it into something else that's going on in the community. Other times we just pull things out of our hat.
I've seen some of the things you pull out of your hat, and I wish we had some samples.
Oh, we do.
We do.
We do.
Oh, it's time for that then.
So this year, grab a few things. This year, I decided to focus on working three-dimensionally. So we started out with a really simple project, and I guess I should say that these kids that are in the workshop range from ages 6 to 12. So you have a whole variety of ability levels that you are trying to accommodate. So the first project that we did is we just made it three-dimensional with a found object. So we used a plastic bowl to make the viewing window of our own astronaut rocket. And they had a lot of fun. We did paper marbling using shaving cream and used a variety of different materials.
I'm going to hold that.
And those are really
and I'll
cute.
look through it so you get an idea of what the kids were able to do. It's very creative.
And if you go to St. Genevieve Art Guild, there's photos of the kids with their little mask on.
Yeah, well, I have photos, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I think that they were posted on Facebook, which
Yes,
is where
they
we
were. Oh,
advertise.
Facebook,
Yeah.
okay.
So then last week we did a sea turtle, and this is done with a paper plate. And so the kids were learning how to take something and shape it, cutting, folding, and then also working on some painting skills.
Hold it up so people can see it. These are delightful.
So this next Monday, we're doing a doodle bug, which is a three-dimensional bug on a leaf, and showing them how to use cardboard, how to shape it. This is lightweight cardboard. Working on patterning, color, that sort of thing. So
this is the kind of thing that a high-end summer camp would do.
Yeah.
But high-end summer camps cost a fortune.
Yes.
Is this relatively affordable
It's $10 per
per
student.
session?
Very
Yes.
inexpensive.
Per
really.
class.
Excellent.
Per class, yes. And then the
Mhm.
last class is actually a 2-week class, and we're going to go fully three-dimensional
Oh, wow.
with cardboard. And I have a cardboard cutting machine, which kids can use. It's very kid-friendly. So we're going to make dragon heads. So it's going to take 2
grand.
weeks because they're going to do a lot of cutting themselves.
I'm not going to put this one on, but I am going to
Yeah.
hold it up so that everyone can see it.
Yeah,
Isn't that adorable?
yeah.
And a session is $10
$10 per class.
per class.
Per class, yes. So each class is 2 hours. This particular one will be 4 hours. It'll be over a 2-week period.
Okay.
So,
I know because we've talked about it that you have very strong feelings about the fact that kids being involved in art isn't just about art, but that there are benefits to children from doing this kind of thing. Can you talk a little bit about that?
yes, I think that the arts are really important because they teach critical thinking skills that you don't necessarily get a lot of practice at in the regular classroom. So kids are encouraged to problem solve. They're encouraged to look for different ways to use materials. They're encouraged to look for different solutions. And I always thought one of the most important things I taught was how you deal with a mistake or what you perceive as a mistake.
So you teach art and life skills.
Yes. So resilience, an effort to kind of keep trying and to be willing to be experimental. That's really what creativity is. It's not something you're born with. It's a tool or a trait that you can develop. So I think that the arts are really important for that reason. They also reinforce a lot of the things going on in the regular classroom, your math skills, history, literature, poetry, all of those things you can reinforce with various different art projects that you do. And then it also is a place for kids that have learning differences to excel. There's a lot of kids that might have trouble in a regular classroom or be a little bit more challenged. And their different way of learning and of looking at their environment actually becomes a real positive attribute in the art class. And some of my best student artists were kids that had learning differences.
That's marvelous.
Yeah. So
And it sounds like it goes beyond what may happen in a regular classroom. For one thing, it's a small group at the Art Guild.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there and seen it a time or two, like 10 or 12 kids at a time, maybe.
Yes, usually, yes.
Yeah. And both of our schools, I think, have very strong art programs.
Oh, yes.
I know you've been involved with Valley, and I've met some of the teachers from St. Jen. But what the Guild is doing is a different kind of thing, isn't it?
Well, I'm not completely familiar with what they're doing in the regular classroom, but I'm assuming it's much like what I did when I was in the classroom. So, yeah, we try to go a little bit beyond what the average teacher is able to do because of either budget constraints or space constraints or time, those kinds of things.
And these kids don't get graded.
No, absolutely not. No.
So what they're doing for themselves,
Right.
for their parents,
Right.
and for you.
Well, for themselves
And for
mainly.
fun.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
for fun. Yes.
Yeah.
And for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great program.
Thank you. Yeah, we think
Yeah.
so.
Is there any kind of scholarship program involved with it for kids who maybe their families couldn't quite handle it?
Not at this time. That's probably an interesting thought, but not at this time, no.
We will be back with the audience to tell them about opportunities to give to a scholarship program if you all put one together.
All right.
All
Sounds
right.
good.
All right. But that's not all that the Art Guild has been involved in with kids.
No, it isn't.
Because for years, you've been involved with the Youth Plein Air, which I understand is is going to be changed this year.
Right. Actually, they had an opportunity, when was that, 2 weeks ago, when they had the Valley House?
Mm-hmm.
And we did have a few children that came and painted. I didn't go to the display where you work, and when they had the display,
Yes.
what was it, about 14, something like
I
that?
think so. Mhm.
About 14 people participated. That was adults and children, right? Mostly.
I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for all of the people who don't belong to the Art Guild, what is plein air?
It's painting in the outdoors.
Okay.
You just pick a object and that paint. Like
So-
we used to do it down at by the railroad tracks on Main Street. And down there they had like a 360-degree vision of what was available to paint. Houses, the creek, the buildings, the railroad trestle, and little things in the grass even. One year, one of the kids painted the spigot where the water came out and didn't paint it, they drew it. And it was really a good drawing, a rendition of it. So they have a big choice.
I was asked to judge that one year.
Yeah.
And I was amazed at the number of kids who happened to be entered that year.
Yeah.
We're talking 5 or 6 years ago, I guess.
Right.
And how good the art was.
Mhm.
We have some very talented children in our community.
Yeah, we used to have about 30. And then every year, as more baseball and soccer and all the sports started during school, and they had all the practice after school, it just kept dwindling down to less and less children. So this year we decided to make it a family affair. So that's what went on down at the
Very good.
Valley House. And it was for parents and children and anybody that wanted to come. So it
Very
was
good.
fun working there too, talking to the people. So that's what's going to be for right now. We may go back to plein air again, but we have not decided.
So art and kids go together. Art and communities go together as well. And I think one of the things that impressed me when I moved down here 1,000 years ago in the winter of the blue snow, how vibrant this art community was and how involved it was in the life of the town. And I think the whole time I've been here, which is about 40 years, that's been true. And one of the best examples of that, I think, is what you all do in terms of the children and reaching out and raising the next generation of members of the Art Guild.
Right. And we also had the music too. Patty Nagger did a lot of
Yes.
Beautiful.
on tours for years and years.
Yeah.
He
Can I
taught them
say
German,
something?
French, sure.
I think what you're doing is wonderful, Peggy, and it's so
Thank you.
reasonable. My youngest son and his wife have a little girl. They live in St. Louis, and she goes to a private school. But in the summer, she goes a couple of day camps, and one of them she goes to is CASA, but it's really expensive. She only goes for like 4 weeks, but she has been diagnosed with ADHD. She's on medication. She's just blossoming. She's everything, and art's her thing.
Yeah.
That's great.
And when you were talking about that, she draws my husband and I, and they're caricatures. They're so funny. She's 8, she'll be 9 in July. It just amazes me, the talent that it's what you do. Look at what you're bringing out in these kids. That's wonderful. For a town this size.
Yeah.
We're
I
very
think it's a
blessed.
nice opportunity.
It
So,
is.
yeah.
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 Peggy, by the way, is a retired art teacher.
Yeah.
We are blessed with having several retired art
Yes.
teachers in our art
Yeah,
guild.
yeah.
Yes.
And I don't think we'd be able to do this without you all. Juanita Wyman is another one of
Yes.
them. Yeah. And Vicky. I
Vicky
think.
Cummings.
Vicky Cummings. So we're very fortunate. And we're also very fortunate to have some very talented people involved in art in the public and private schools in this community.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so we thank you for coming and bringing all this wonderful
Okay.
stuff. And maybe we'll take a small break before we hear everything you have to say tonight.
Quite all right.
All right.
Okay, Peggy, thanks for making the trip here. from Chip. He's tied up at the fairgrounds getting ready for the Springs for Down syndrome, so he can't be here. But it's very, very interesting. They have the UTV ride, which you can sign up for, and that is that last year. I don't know what they're doing this year, but they divided up in different time slots where you could leave at different times, so everybody wasn't on the road at the same time. And they had like 4 or 5 routes.
I think they're doing something similar to that. I
Is
was
that right?
reading in the paper today.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then maybe you know more about it since you read the paper.
Well, I just read, and he changes things every year, which is great
Right,
because he's drawing people,
Right.
For his cause, and it's wonderful. But yeah, and kids' activities up there. They're having food. I mean, it's just
right. And they have volunteers that do baskets.
yeah.
And oh my goodness, they have so many baskets, and they have a verbal auction and the silent auction where you buy tickets and you can go around and pick what basket you want to win and drop your ticket in there. And then at the end of the program, they pull the tickets out, and
You can win something.
you might win something. One year I won 2 baskets. I always say I want the wine basket.
I'm sorry
yeah.
Chip couldn't be here because there may be some people watching who don't know what this is about.
That's true.
And it's
It
one
could
of, it's another example, I think, of how St. Genevieve addresses the little ones among us. And in this case, kids who may have some
Special
issues.
needs, yeah, special
Yes.
needs.
This-
And do people know that he had a son who had Down syndrome?
Right.
Which
Yeah.
he lost
Andrew.
a few years back, but
Yes.
everybody loved him, and everyone rallies around this, and people come
Yeah.
from St.
Yes.
Louis.
And
And-
this community is very responsive when it comes to kids with special needs.
Yeah.
Challenger Park is the kind of, we'll let you answer your phone
No, I'm
before
not
we go
answering
on.
It's
You might get invited out to dinner.
no, I get these spam calls all day, and I keep
Sam,
blocking them.
right.
Oh my, we've all had that. Challenger
Sorry.
Park is something, I've not seen anything like that in any other community around here. It was a park that was specifically designed and constructed so that kids who have a variety of kinds of disabilities are able to enjoy the park, and some sports activities and climbing on things. And it's an all-volunteer thing that they do. As the kids get a little older, some of the kids have a chance to work at Common Grounds Coffee House, which is also designed to provide experiences for children and young adults who otherwise might not have a chance to interact with the world and get ready to be adults in a world that sometimes isn't very forgiving. I think this community, because of the leadership of people like Chip and the involvement of people like Chip's family, does a wonderful job of trying to meet the needs of all the children.
Right. And there are very, very many people involved in that program. It takes an army to actually put it on. There are so many people. And then all the people that volunteer to work and to give to the donations for the baskets, and then that volunteer to sell the tickets for the baskets. I mean, it's just amazing what goes on in St. John for the Spring for Down. They made enough money. They built a playground
Yeah.
and a field, a ball field or soccer field, whatever they want to use it for. And they're very nice out by the community center, which is very handy for anybody to find. And I told him next they need to do the splash pad for the kids.
Well, I
Yeah.
told him the next thing
So,
they need
yeah,
is a swim team for those kids. That kind of reflects where we are coming from more than anything else, I suppose. For people who don't know, and I'm one of the people who, because of other commitments, have seldom been able to go up to this big annual event. But Iris, you've been there, and you can talk about what actually happens.
No, they used to have it at KC Hall, and of course, as it grew larger and larger and larger, I think this is their third year up at the fairgrounds.
Yes.
They moved it up there. It's bigger. There's a bigger building, and then they have all the outdoor spaces that are undercover already that
There's
they can
more room to
use.
spread out.
Right, and they can
You know.
spread out all the activities, and they have food trucks up there
Oh, yeah.
too now, and different things that weren't
They have
available
a
when
lot
it was
of-
at the
yeah.
KC Hall.
Yeah.
So anyway, anybody that wants to come to St. John for any age group, it's a wonderful event. You'll really enjoy it. They have music also,
Oh,
don't they?
yes.
Yes, they have a band in the evening, and then I
I
think
think they
during
have
the
some
day.
music during the day because they
Day,
always
yeah.
did at the KC Hall.
Yeah.
They had it spread out,
Right,
you know. So that's, yeah.
yeah. So I'm sorry Chip couldn't be here, but
We gave him a plug.
we did. And he really, really is very good at talking about it. And last year we were fortunate enough to have his daughter, who was a twin of Andrew's,
Right.
to be here to talk to. So anyway, come on Saturday. There's a lot going on downtown and also up at the fairgrounds. And there's music and all kind of vending. And they have sales for everything. And then, of course, the Art Center is open, and Silver Sycamore and Jean's Eclectic Gallery and Music, Art, and Love and the Audubons and Ciro's and Obrick and Anvil. Our restaurants are wonderful.
And our signature event.
Well,
Now, Kathy's going to tell us all about that.
yes. This has been going on since 1997. It's the French Heritage Festival. And it's only on Saturday. It used to be 2 days, and it started out 3 different cities. But right now, but as long as I've been here for almost 12 years, and I've been the co-chair for since 2017. Sandra Cabot and I co-chair it, and we have a great time. So this year we're going to spread out because we have a new tourism director, and he had some ideas, and he got with Jeff Gigliani from French Colonial America, and we're spreading it over there. But it starts out at the back of the church, and we have the French Melisse. We have our Melisse. That's at 10:30, the opening ceremony.
Okay, I'm going to stop you. Your Melisse, does that have to do with like mices?
Oh, that's true. A lot of people don't know that Melisse is the French military. They're not mice.
Okay.
That's a group of men that have been dedicated doing this for years. Actually, they're French Marines that are coming from St. Louis, I think, to join. And we start out there at the back of the church with different speakers, and I'll go into that in a minute. But before that, at the Gibor Valley House at 9:30, Marie Antoinette is there, and we have cake in the backyard. So if anyone would love to come and meet Marie Antoinette in the back of the Gibor Valley House.
And that is on 4th Street.
And that's on 4th
on the
and,
corner.
yes, 4th and, and Merchant. And you go in the back gate, and she will be there decked out as Marie can only do. And
Offering people to let them eat cake.
yeah, let them eat cake, exactly.
And you can also tour the house. And
Yes, they will have tours throughout the day of the house.
And there's also a lift there where if you're handicapped, you can still tour
Yes.
the house.
Yes, it's handicap accessible, which is really nice because sometimes when you visit older homes, you don't always have that.
Right.
You know, it's not a requirement by ADA to do that. So they have taken that extra step and done that.
Right. That's very
So-
nice.
Yes, it is. So we are having the opening ceremony, and I don't want to miss anyone. So everyone's going to gather, the participants in the parade who are leading the parade are going to gather on the back steps in the back area where you enter the church
It's actually on Dewberg,
on Duberg.
right in front of the Art
Right.
Guild.
Right. And
Or the flag,
Yes,
by the flag.
by the
Yeah,
flag.
That's a good,
And We have, we're going to have Aaron Smith, who is our new tourism director, is going to do an introduction. And of course, Bill Nager, though he and his sweet dear wife is no longer with us, he is pretty much our MC and introduces people and gives us all a welcome, and it's wonderful. And people will be dressed in period costumes, which makes it fun. He is going to honor King Alex and Queen Emma. Every year we have a King's Ball, except every fourth year it's a Queen's Ball.
Right.
So the young gentleman and his girlfriend who were involved in that are going to be introduced, and they will also march in the parade. Bill will then introduce the Marquis de Lafayette. And where he conjured up from, I don't know. I think he's been gone a long time, but he's coming to visit us.
How
So it's kind of
wonderful.
exciting. And he will give a talk and raise his hands in a toast.
Is
Then
that down at the Welcome Center
this
again?
is,
Is that going to be at the Welcome Center?
no, this
or
is
it
all at the church,
at the church? Okay.
all before we start the promenade.
Okay.
And Father Burkemper from our Catholic Church will give a blessing. Then we will get ready to go. The milice are going to fire their muskets. The French Marines will start the promenade on to Berg. We will go down Merchant Street to Main Street. The street will be closed off, so everyone is welcome to join. It's a party parade for the whole town,
Right.
for whomever comes to this. And then we get to Main Street, and we used to go left, but we've changed some things this year. And we're going to go right at Main Street and go back to Market Street. And they're going to parade in front of Lions Park
Oh, that'll be nice.
and stop. And then they're going to do another volley. And Lafayette will join them. And we will have the opening. The festivity will start. It has for years been somewhat centered in Lions Park. And we've had food and music. And of course, we have a bar with beer and wine.
Of
you know.
course.
We're going to have music.
We're celebrating
You
French.
have, yes, you have to dance and have fun. But across the street, also this year, Market Street is closed from 2nd Street to Main. That block, that's the only place it's going to be closed. We'll have some food vendors. We're going to have demonstrators doing different
Colonial
crafts. And we have these brochures that are being passed around town. Are being hung in shops. They will also be handed out at the event. So you can look at this and see who's going to be where and where the activities actually are. And it is Saturday, the 14th. Now,
Talk a little bit about the music, because I think one of the most exciting things about this event is some of the music that shows up each year.
our most famous participant is Dennis Stromat,
Of course.
who has been with us probably since the beginning. He is so interesting. He lives over in Eastern Illinois. He was always interested in French heritage. So we have a town that's older than St. Genevieve, but it was a small little lead mining village and old mines, and it's over off of Highway, it's
21.
21. And they have a festival each year too, so I should give them a plug because it's really neat.
It is. Yes.
But he heard that they still spoke the old patois French, which is the French in the old dialect.
Right.
As they came here in the 1720s and 30s, the French, like all people developed their own dialect. And they lived there and they learned that and they spoke that. Well, he heard about it. In the 1990s, as a young man, he went over there and met those people and learned the patois French. And he sings the song, the old French and the patois French. And then he tells you the story as he sings it. And it's fun. It's lively music. Does some Cajun music. He has two groups. And it's exciting, and it's something you don't hear anywhere else. Maybe in very small parts of our country.
A lot of us are familiar with his name, but some people who have not been in touch with that part of our history and tourism industry here may not know. Dennis has a national and
Yes.
international reputation. He's a very highly regarded musician, and there's good reason for it. The music is great.
He goes across our country every year before he comes to our French festival. He's up east. After he leaves here, he goes out to Oregon. He plays there for 2 weeks. And he has albums. He will sell his music here too. So if you want to hear it and you love it when you come, you may want to take some of his CDs home.
He's also an awfully nice man.
Oh, yeah, he brings his daughter sometimes and she'll play with the guys.
And in between, they talk to people, who come up to say hello.
Never would he ever turn his back on anyone.
Yeah.
He's fantastic.
Yeah. So what else is happening?
Oh, well, that's just my part here. Lions Club is where it'll stop. Okay. And we'll have food booths. There's a food truck in St. Genevieve that just came the past year. Sister Cities, they do the most wonderful smoked meat. And sides, we're excited to have them. The pewter shop, he has a young man who has moved here. The family has moved here. And he is doing an internship with the pewter shop. So he and Tom Pewter. Yes, Tom Hooper will be doing some demonstrations and selling some of the old French styles of pewter.
By the way, let's stop there for a moment, because for people who don't know, the Hoopers and their talent at doing pewter goes back quite a ways. They came here, I think, from maybe Clarksville.
They're originally from California and they lived in Louisiana, Missouri.
Louisiana, Missouri.
Yeah.
They were involved in one of the PBS historical series, the one about John Adams, I think.
And they sell a lot of their pewter to Williamsburg, a lot of historic places.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're known. They get orders from all over. They're
Yeah, in the same way that we all know Dennis and we all, love him, that the Hoopers have a national kind of reputation for the pewter work that they do. We're very fortunate here in St. Genevieve that people land here who are known all over the country.
Yeah, it's just amazing. They bring their art with them, and we're so fortunate, So also at Lions Park, Dennis is going to play from 11:30 to 2:30. And Mike Rush, La Guillonne Jam Session. La Guillonne is a group of people who have been doing this from when our town was new. And it's a New Year celebration. And these gentlemen dress in the period costumes of the old French, and they tour our town and sing a Guillonne, this wonderful song. And they are singing in French and dancing and playing music. Well, we're going to have someone who is doing that so people can experience that. And then that is from 3 to 4. From 4 to the 6, we have a gentleman, Al Knott and Doug Rendelman. They're going to do Papa French folk tunes. So the same type of thing that Dennis has learned, they have learned, and they'll be different than what Dennis and his group have learned. Mm-hmm. So across the street at French Colonial Life, which is the Bolduc House, the Lamier House, across the street, the Linden House, it's just going to be full of great stuff. And they have not done this along with French Festival before. So
that'd be great.
We are so fortunate. So French Colonial Life is having a gentleman, Brian Hawkins, at 12 in the afternoon, who is going to do animated folk tales in some more Papa French. But these are things that they're trying to draw children to, families with kids. Another gentleman, Jim Duncan, who is known here, at 2 p.m., he's going to do Osage legends, because the Osage Native Americans live in our area. And then a roundtable discussion at 3 p.m. about the Creole Corridor. So it's just anyone who wants to join in and learn some more of these facts in the afternoon.
Now,
Also,
where is that?
and that is going to be on the campus of French Colonial
Oh, okay.
America, probably behind the Lamiere House, which is right on the corner of Market and Main. And those houses are all going to be open.
That'll be good for tours.
Yes. So French Colonial America, also on their campus from 11 to 6, has Je voudrais mange tent, Parisian market food, Creole food. And I think that it isn't all just cooked. There are things that you can buy besides that. It's going to be like a market, a little
Oh,
store.
Nice.
And then they're going to have yard games all day for children. The Lamiere South Room is also going to be set up with a storyteller, Brian Hawkins, once more. And he is going to tell stories. And there is going to be a woman there because that evening behind the Lamiere House on the French Colonial America campus, we're going to have music and kind of a French ball. They're going to be dancing. They're encouraging everyone to wear the colonial costumes, but they are also going to rent some. They'll have a woman there that,
Right.
if you'd like to get fitted and dance, and
She sews the
does she?
dresses. That's what I heard. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
We're
Yeah,
on.
I'm right in the middle of telling our story.
Come on up. You
Well,
can
sit
sit
down.
up.
You can sit with us.
For those of you who don't know, this is Erin Smith, who is our tourism director and who knows everything about everything and has an adorable new baby.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
That I do know.
Yes.
For sure.
Well, and he helped put this together. He put this program together for us. And he's worked really closely with the French Colonial America, with, our team of people together. So I am just following through. I've already covered the opening ceremony. I'm going. So as I talk, if you want to throw something in or.
Yeah, sure.
So the Linden House, which is across the street from French Colonial America, they're doing living history from 11 to 4. And that's going to be, a lot of that's centered around children as well. Across the street, catty corner from that, is the Jean-Baptiste Valley House. They're also going to have children's activities from 11 to 4. And we have a special guest, Suzanne Corbett, who used to write for the Post-Dispatch. She's a cookbook author. She's wonderful. She is going to do some Creole cuisine demos in the kitchen or and also on the back porch of the JB Valley House
Very good.
from 11 to 4:30. And she's really neat. It's just such a mixture, and music in all of these places. I mean, it's just going to be so much fun. So in the evening at French Colonial America, I had mentioned about having the dancing. And who is the music? Is it on here?
No, she's. I chose one of Queen Laura Jablonski, who was the Queen of St. Genevieve last year.
Year.
Her good friend is going to call the dance, and she's coming down from University City to do that, and she's bringing her own band. Yeah, she's
Very good.
She's very well versed. I think during the Queen's Ball or the King's Ball this year, she and some friends did like a waltz demonstration, which was very cool, kind of at the intermission. So she's very well versed, and I'm excited to see how this develops. We're hoping to bring this back year over year and
Very good.
build on the momentum of what the King's Ball has been doing.
And since this is centered on that block of Market, we have the tea shop and we have La Petite Fleur, another little gallery with local artists. Not only our art guild, we just have so much talent and wonderful things that are going to appear. And do you want to talk about more of what I spoke about? The pewter shop is having his.
Sure, the vendors that'll be there.
Yeah.
Well, the Melise encampment, so we're kind of centering a lot of stuff in that Lamelier yard. The dance will happen right behind the house. Later, we're also, later from 6 to 9, but during the day, we're going to have 2 big 10 by 20 tents. It's going to be part of this this Parisian market called Je voudrais marcher tents. Jenny Baca is going to head one of the tents. Nathan Schultz from Schultz Antiques is going to bring a lot of
good.
stuff as well to sell. They're going to have a friendship table in the middle of one of the tents so that people can go and try different things. Jenny will have her spritzers and herbs, and she's going to be selling just kind of like more lifestyle stuff. And then in the other tent, we'll have Jefferson Fox, who's a really great ceramicist. They're selling his wares, and he'll have an actual kick wheel. And he's going to be, doing wedging and showing people how to go, taking them through the whole process. So that'll be more of a demonstration. And then Lisa, the filigree artist, filigree paper artist, will be there as well. We'll also have Valerie Almond, who does the paper marbling in that area as well. And then, of course, Deb Cambron and the Melise and the people that are normally there doing skill and crafts demos. So that'll be the Lamel Ure Yard, and then we'll have Copper Cactus serving. They have a little horse trailer that's been converted into a little cocktail bar, and the guy who runs that with his wife is actually the mayor of Fredericktown. So that's pretty cool. Sister Cities Barbecue will be out there on the corner. We have Tony Ferranto, also in the Lamel Ure Yard, who's going to be doing like an artisanal jambalaya. So shrimp and andouille jambalaya, and he does a really great job of kind of sourcing his parts. He goes up to Soulard Spice Market, and he actually makes his own spices. So I'm really coming from the jambalaya capital of the world. That's where I grew up. Actually, the little town I grew up in, Gonzales, Louisiana, is the jambalaya capital of the world. So I'm very excited to try this jambalaya. And then I'll be making a ton of coleslaw, so you can get a plate of jambalaya and coleslaw. Of course, Lions Club Park's going to be doing their. The Lions are going to be doing their fish fry. Mm-hmm. You can get barbecue at Sister Cities, and then 93.1 will be set up outside of French Colonial America and doing a live remote, kind of talking about the day. So you can, if you don't come out, which you definitely should come out, you can listen to it from 1 to 4. So,
and CCTV will. I'm sure Charlie will be there filming, and you'll be able to watch right here.
And important that we need to mention too is the Foundation for Restoration of St. Genevieve is our big sponsor, but then we have other sponsors, Mississippi Lime, Bob and Linda Mueller, and the Bedford Group. Those are gold sponsors. These are local people. Silver level, Aunt Katie's Corner Airbnb, Carl Kinski Attorney, Betsy and John Kuntz, Geiger Properties, and then we have a bronze level, Carl Kinski and Susie Johnson, Ken and Patty Lewis, Edward Jones, Elaine Mooney she's a financial advisor, Shelter Insurance, Steve Platty, and Ralston Fine Jewelry. These are so important to get these events going.
Yeah. I remember, in fact, I was involved in the very first one of these back in 97, I think it was. When it was Bernie Schramm, who some of the people who are watching may remember, and Fran Ballinger, and a group of local people who decided, we have this wonderful French heritage, we should be doing something with it. And it started out small, very modest compared to this. And I think it's very exciting to see how this has developed and grown over the years.
And it's nice to get some new people involved, some new blood, different vendors, different types of food. And I think if it draws more and more people, they'll see what is really here. Didn't Eliza Mee help with the very beginning? The French ladies?
They were involved.
In St. Louis?
But they were recruited to be involved by the local group. And it really was Bernie Schramm who was the primary force behind it. Some of the people who are watching us may remember Bernie, who he, with his wife, Vian, owned the Jean-Baptiste Valley House for in fact, it was her family's family home.
Yeah.
And it's lovely to have seen this develop. So congratulations, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's fun and it's exciting. And it's not going to rain, okay? Nick say, I'm going to go light a candle and I'm not even Catholic.
Yeah.
Anything else Adam?
Well, I think one of the really lovely
Yeah,
things, wonderful things that is happening too, especially for the art community, is FCA is bringing out Brian Hawkins, who is an animator, and he has been very active in Old Mines, engaging the French speakers that still live there, but also going back into the archives and listening. You know, in the 30s and 70s, there was a big push by the state to record our
Yes.
French speakers. And he's taken some of those stories that they've told, especially the folk tales, which are really quite whimsical and interesting, and animated those. And he animates them all with watercolor. And then he, does cutouts, and he does these really interesting things. And he has two films. One is Chasse Galerie, and the other is called La Buisson. And one of the La Buisson or Le Buisson was would have been a story that would have been told here in St. Genevieve. So I think it's very relevant, and it's very cool, one, to see an artistic interpretation of our French heritage, but it's really world class, and he'll be showing those films at noon in the Center for French Colonial Life in their conference room. So,
And for the people who may not be able to get down here and be part of it, Charlie, we're expecting to be on the scene doing some videoing, and so you'll be able to catch some pieces of it right here on CCTV.
yeah, beautiful.
Well, like Brian Hawkins, what he's bringing, it'll be a whole new aspect that these children around here haven't seen. I hope their parents bring them so they get to see this. And it'll be fun because they love animation, and for him to put that together,
Yeah, it's very cool stuff. Well, and also, I don't know if you mentioned Mike Rook and what he'll be doing as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
So yeah, I think we're also trying to engage the younger generation, and how do we keep our French heritage alive?
Yes.
And with Mike and teaching the Guiana, I think a lot of people, if they knew how to knew the words and knew how to play the chord structure and things like that, I think we could really.
And it's such a fun, lively melody, and when they come, the Guiana come and dance and play it and sing.
Right.
Very many years ago, when I was with the newspaper, I rode with the La Guiana folks on
Did you?
their route one year. And they're charming, they're delightful, but the bus driver had to stay very sober because nobody else really did.
No, right. That's part of the charm, though.
Yes,
I think that started out like that back in the 1700s.
I think
that was
it
always
did.
part
It's
of the fun. You go
traditional.
to people's house and they give you something to eat and something
Yes,
to drink.
yes, it's a traditional part of it. They're a very dedicated group, and they're delightful.
Well, and I've
Good
noticed, like Aaron and his wife sister and brother live right down the street from me, young families with children. This is something that I hope will be a draw to St. John. Younger generations. We have a good school district, 2 great schools. I just think it's something fun that my daughter-in-law and granddaughter are coming from St. Louis. They always like to come for these type of things. I just think it'll just to get it out there and see what we are.
The most authentic French, sort of French celebration in the state.
Well, I mean, yeah, we'll coin it right here. Yeah.
All right.
I can vouch for that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, what other, unless you cross the river in Illinois, I think they have some stake to, maybe in the region of
Right.
being a little bit older. But, in Old Mines, I think they've celebrated their tricentennial last year. But as far as a real agricultural stalwart community, I think we're it, so.
And we're accessible, being right up at 55
Sure,
for
right.
people to come.
Right.
It's not a hard place to find, and it's
Will most of the historic properties be open? The National Park Service?
Yeah, absolutely.
definitely.
Yeah, and we're activating the JB Valley Yard this year, so that's where a lot of the
Excellent.
children's activity will happen. the national park is partnering with the state historic site and with
Very good.
the Museum Learning Center, and even the library will be involved in doing some children's
Yeah.
activities. So.
Very
So
good.
yeah, no, I think deciding to kind of close the footprint down this year and keep it and activate FCA and the National Park Service and Felix Valley actually leaving their site and coming over, I think is really encouraging, and they can help us kind of really liven up the activities during the day. So
Well, there's
You
so
remember
much
the
going-
early days. In fact, you're the only native at this table. The
I'm
rest of
not
us,
really a native.
and you're not a native either.
I'm here since I was 9.
Oh, well,
That counts.
Long time, many years. Yeah.
That counts. And it seems to me that it was in, and I could be very wrong about this, that it was in the mid 80s that people really started to focus maybe on the French history of the town. I know that in the late 60s there was some interest when Greg Francois wrote his first book about Saint Genevieve, the story of
then the
old
Bolduc
Saint
started
Genevieve.
their tours.
And the Bolduc started their tours because that was at the period when the renovation of the Bolduc
Yeah.
had been completed. But I think it's just blossomed since then.
Well, this is going to be fun because there's so much going on, and people will see one thing and they'll go, "Oh my God, there's something over here."
Mhm.
They can just be in this big broad circle,
Right.
and it'll continue into the evening. It's not just shut off at 6 o'clock.
right.
At one time, it went to later, and it was just really hard to get Dennis to stay that late and
Yeah,
to get
dance-
volunteers.
Sure.
Yeah.
So hopefully,
Dance through town back up to church.
yeah. But hopefully, this will really
Yeah.
bring it all together.
We thank
I
you
think
for
it's
coming.
great. Yeah.
How about we take a very short break and let these folks, unless you have something else you want to talk about that's coming up.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, we can end it here. I mean, there's a lot I could talk about, but we could be here all night. Seriously, there's so much going on. But I gave a presentation last night to the Art Guild and kind of just rambled on for an hour and a half about things that were going on.
We don't have that much time.
Right. Yeah. So we better cut it off here. But, we actually kind of, as far as events go, the next big thing, will be kind of our 4th of July ceremonies. On the 28th, we have the fireworks. And then on the 5th, there will be a sort of ceremony where, we'll have a George Washington reenactor and things like that. And that'll also be on the Center for French Colonial Life campus.
Can we get you to come back in 2 weeks and talk about that?
Yeah, that sounds great. I'll do
All
that.
right. Very good.
Thank you, everyone.
Iris, shall we take a quick break before we do the last part of the show tonight?
Okay.
All right. We'll be right back.
Here we are.
And I think that's our guests for this evening. Anything else?
No, I don't know of anything. Yeah.
We've been
Just come by the Art Center, which is right across from the Catholic Church and by the flags. And also come this weekend for all the festivities. They'll be popping in the town. So I think everything at the park and at downtown and all the events that's coming up,
it's an exciting weekend.
it will be.
Yeah, it will
Yeah.
be. And we're going to try and be there, and we hope we'll see all of you there.
Okay. So I guess our next show, if we have guests, will be the 4th Wednesday. And if we don't have guests, we'll probably try to be back before the 4th of July, which I think Aaron might be coming before the 4th Wednesday. So I guess we probably will be back then. Yeah.
Yes. Aaron will be back, and we're hoping to have a little more information about the 4th of July activities, and we can talk a little bit about 4th Friday.
Yep.
All right.
Which is always on,
Which is
every month.
Every month from March through November.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for coming.
Okay. Thanks for coming and joining us tonight. So that's it for What's New. Yeah. Good night, everyone.
Good night.